stop this blasphemer from telling lies.
We can get straight to it, gents.
Let's get
We're here
into it.
today. We here
Let's get
today to
into
talk
it.
about some serious shit. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
this is okay. I always start this off with a disclaimer. First of all, this is the Shaman speaking. We got Slopes in the building. We got Kume in the building. Nick King Kume, as I like to call him. He don't want to use that name, but that's what I'm gonna call him. And we're here to discuss what happened this week. A whole lot of shit happened this week.
What's the disclaimer?
Mm, mm, The disclaimer is that we DCU motherfuckers. We DCU fans here.
Well,
Most
hold on
most
now.
of them.
Hold,
Wait, wait,
hold
wait.
on now.
Uh-oh. Wait. Let me get to what I'm saying. Don't cut me
Okay.
off. I'm saying this. We have an appreciation for DCU. More specifically, I'm beginning to discover that I really just only had an appreciation for Zack Snyder's DCU, and that I'm not too interested in the other. But however, I have leanings towards that side. If you are someone who has leanings towards the DCU and hope for the DCU, this week has been a very conflicting week for you, I am sure, as it was for me, because Marvel is kicking ass right now. Loki, ladies and gentlemen, episode 6, the finale. Uh,
I'll
it.
just
What are your thoughts? Let me start y'all off with the thoughts.
Bro, the
forget.
possibilities, bro.
Uh huh.
Do you know what could happen? The way they've set it up, because I'm picturing this right. What is the end game in mind by making all this multiverse stuff, right? I'm thinking they're trying to go big on this. What's better than Endgame having your whole one universe and an all-out war?
Having multiple universes.
Yeah. And guess what? Guess what we could have? This is the possibilities I'm seeing, right? We could have the original MCU Hulk, Ang Lee's Hulk, with Edward Norton's Hulk, right? The one I even started with whatever Wolverine is when Wolverine is coming in, right? And
Mm-hmm.
also, and we're looking at Sam Raimi Spider-Man, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
basically getting the past, right, mixed in with what's with the future, right? And that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
The possibilities are endless there, right? They could do multiple films, right? And even change it. Like for me right now, even the main timeline is different now. Now there's a safe way to replace Chadwick Boseman, even though people don't want that, right? There's a safe way to do that without actually, making a conflicting story, right? Because I'm picturing they're gonna replace him with Killmonger. They're just gonna rewrite history that way, right? And it makes sense to me, right? Because the what if story is kind of pushing Killmonger's history to be different in that way as well. I don't
Wait,
know if you
Nick, you are taking us so fucking far. Let's just reel it back, cause I'm now you fucking with me for real. The episode, as you said, possibilities. I guess
okay.
that's what you could
Okay,
say.
possibility. That was for possibility. But for the episodes alone, I did like the setup for it. The setup for Kang the Conqueror. The fact that we saw the kind of quirky good version of him, right? Which was giving the layout of why things are the way they are, right? Why the universe is the way it is, and the choice, right? Into whether to continue things this way or to just destroy it and have the next guy who's like the conqueror come and basically, you know, start an all out war, threatening all reality. I think it made the a good setup for everything that's gonna happen in the future. Because now that this happened, everything that's been happening in the other movies now makes sense to me personally. The involvement with old characters coming into the new, right? All the things I'm hearing about all of how these universes, how Venom and everyone's gonna come together, the Spider Verse. It all kind of makes sense because of the setup Loki has provided, right? So I mean, personally, say all you want about the series, but I think what it did for Marvel was pretty much create the hype train that
Fuck.
for Phase 5.
They put all the coal in that motherfucking hype train. You know, and they take the coal and they put it all in there. Slopes.
Mm. Mm.
I mean, and for characters, we can go into characters later, but personally, I didn't like Loki personally, but we can go into that later.
We get into that. No, we get into that because there's a whole lot of cracks. But yeah, slows.
Ooh, let me tell you, the only thing I care about Loki is my nigga, the one who remains.
First of all, your camera. First of all, your motherfucking camera. I hear
what's
Nick.
wrong
I
with
heard
it?
Nick's excuse. I can't see your shit,
Because I put it off.
nigga. What the fuck?
Because me and the one who remains, we don't need to show up. All right, you are the TVA in the situation, my nigga.
The
You're the front man out here.
the
All right,
people want to see.
we are just rolling in the back.
The people want to see. But yeah, all right.
It's a whole thing. I like sitting in the dark.
It's
It
gonna
makes
be
me
a
feel.
problem with the editing. Okay. Okay,
It
I
makes
see
me
what you.
feel.
I see what you're doing.
Now I gotta put on the light. Now you're making things complicated, nigga. God damn.
Wait. You can stay in there, but you just don't move too much. Just have less expressions, and then it'll be fine.
And we also admire that Kang is black too. That's
Yes,
something to say.
sir. That's
Oh,
the
of course, of course.
yeah.
That's the killer. That's the killer.
So first of all, I like that they did that. They made the black man the one that survives the multi-universal war, whatever it's called. Like the last living being in all of existence is a black man. And maybe it was not planned to be like a statement or a status or anything like that. Maybe it was just like this nigga's a very dope actor, which he is, which he proved, which he was fan fucking tastic. But I like that it was a fact of a black man, lost man in the universe, and he tells that story about how scientists in the 31st century they figured out the multiverse and they got together, just a bunch of niggas hanging out, chilling, and although they caused the war to happen, they also kind of fix things. And I'm watching it, I'm like, I know it's fiction, but I'm inspired. I'm ready to go. After the episode, I did shit that I didn't want to do, but I did it. Because that's the, I mean, I don't want to go into like preachy territory, but that's the importance of representation. That you see someone or something there and you're like, holy fuck. Anyway, the character itself, Kang, I think this will forever be my favorite Kang. I don't know. The Conqueror Kang, I'm worried that he's going to be very
Generic.
stereotypical in
Generic.
terms
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
in terms of you are a villain, be a villain, and you have this thought about how a villain's supposed to act. But this character, his mannerisms, his actions, it was very believable and very exciting and very enjoyable to watch. I mean, there's hella memes out there now just about Kang's reaction to the whole Loki versus Sylvie situation. And it's literally just focusing on Kang's reaction to him watching that fight. They don't give a damn about Loki fighting. I mean, he did his whatever, but like, oh shit, you know what I mean? So
That
Kang
background
saved.
acting was kind of amazing.
Yeah, his acting was crazy.
Like,
Kang for me saved the Loki show.
mm-hmm.
If Kang wasn't what he was, the Loki show would have been like, we watched it. It was cool. Yeah, yeah, this part. But now it's literally everyone's talking about it because, oh shit, what does this mean? Oh fuck, what's gonna happen? Oh, did you Kang was that nigga in there? Oh shit. And you can only do that with specific characters. Now they're talking about Kang being the main villain for the next 10 years, which I don't know if that will be a thing, but we gonna see. We gonna see.
So
What do you think?
it's for me. This episode was a demonstration of power. That coupled with Black Widow, I know, which is old news now, but still it must be mentioned. This coupled with Black Widow showed me just the power of Disney Plus, the reason why they are quote unquote the best and will be the kings of this genre probably as long as it exists. These motherfuckers did a pincer move on you bitch ass niggas, and it's insane. A pincer fucking move. They dropped Black Widow. They dropped Black Widow in cinemas and streaming at the same time just to show niggas, look, this is how much we can bank. This is how much, these are our numbers. You saw how they came out and said, yo, these are our numbers. We're going to tell everybody what our numbers are, guys. You want to show your numbers? Niggas is quiet in the room. Everybody looking away, looking at their phones. I want to answer the question. These
You know what the
niggas did it.
problem? You know what the problem with the whole comic book movie universe is that there's always these niggas that always want to compare shit when shit don't need to be compared.
What? I am not. Wait, let me finish my fucking hypothesis. All I'm saying is this. All I'm saying is this. These niggas used the movie to set up a series and used the series to set up the movies, the next phase of fucking movies
Okay.
and series.
Facts.
Pincer fucking move.
So it's both the Hawkeye series that's coming out.
Yes.
Whatever it's gonna be called.
Set that up.
And then the what's it? Ant-Man.
Whatever the fuck is next, they're gonna assume it has something to do with what just happened. So it sets up.
Shang-Chi's next.
Yeah, but you know what this solidifies for me? It solidifies that Phase 4 doesn't matter, because I'm seeing a trend here. I'm seeing a trend of series, right? They're by average mediocre, right? But are setting up for other things to come, right? Because that's really what this year has been for Marvel. A bunch of films that don't have much to say on their own, but the setups are what people are looking at, right?
Did I miss something? This is the first Marvel movie of the year, right?
A mediocre. Sorry, Black Widow. When I said movies, I meant like the series, WandaVision, WandaVision, Loki, Black Widow. All of them, you could basically rank them as mediocre. Maybe Loki is a bit better to most people, but I think on average, it's been mediocre so far. But it's the setups that have got people more hyped, right?
But it's true. But if you really think back, both of them two were really, in terms of setup, kind of duds. Fucking WandaVision doesn't set up shit necessarily.
Didn't it set up Mephisto? I believe it set up something like that, right?
Yeah,
it
but
also
it wasn't as impactful. It wasn't as impactful. Let's just be honest. It wasn't as impactful as this setup. This was a setup.
Wait, hold on.
Because even Kevin Feige, when they asked him, "Oh, is everything going to be a setup?" He said, "WandaVision, you don't have to." He asked. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but basically, if you have to be in tune with what's going to happen in the movies or something to watch WandaVision, and he said, "No, you don't." So for me, that tells me that that don't set up shit. I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier. It set up some blonde bitch in the middle of nowhere that no one gives a fuck about. I know she probably is somebody in the comics. I just don't know who she is.
No, the blonde girl.
Yes.
She was in the Winter Soldier. She was
I know who she was, but I don't know what she's setting up. I can't readily recall the character she's setting up. I guess I'm not.
The setup is not from her, right? The setup is from this Valentine woman, right? That was recruiting a U.S. agent, right?
Yeah.
And she came back again in Black Widow, right? And is trying to recruit Black Widow again, right? All this to form their own version of the Avengers, right? That's what
Dark Avengers.
Yeah, something like that.
I want them to try Norman Osborn, please. I would like to see the MCU try that one. I mean, to be honest, we haven't had too many iterations. I'd like to see them try. I don't know if that's on the docket.
Bad news for you. Far From Home, last Spider-Man movie. So Norman Osborn is gonna have to come out through some other means, but not through Spider-Man.
This actually gets me to a point I was gonna make with regards to Kang. Yes, he's a black man, but yes, also this is yet another point where Marvel proves that they can make a villain that is ordinary or maybe extraordinary, that they can possibly make him great. Because I always tell people this. I know you like Josh Brolin's Thanos, but the Thanos in the comics is a bitch ass nigga, and I need y'all to know that. I really need you to go back and read his motives for doing what he does. It's not the same, doesn't even come off the same, doesn't even have the same energy. Of course, Thanos is Thanos, he still fucks people up, but that cause that really galvanizes, that really makes you root for him, it's not so much there in the comics. So I think that with Kang, as you said, they could fuck up and make him generic, but I trust that they will take another angle, I trust. But again, I'm really just being hopeful because, to be honest with you, this is another character that his comics are not really. It's like he shows up, and then he leaves, and you're like, what the fuck was that? And then you just keep reading. That's the kind of bad guy he is, to be honest, in the
Yeah,
comics.
and I
My
kind of looked
experience.
to Kang a little bit. His lore is pretty deep,
Yeah,
right?
it's just
So it's like there's a lot to work with him.
deep as a lake. I mean, ain't shit happening in there. It's just deep for no reason.
Right? I mean, I've read it. It's kind of it's kind of nice a little bit. But
It's a bunch of writers being retarded.
well, I guess so. But I think what it does is like an open Kang is like an open canvas, right? Because
Word.
even if this one dies, even this current one dies, he could end up not being the big bad, right? It could even be a better Kang, right? The more conqueror, right? So the whole premise I got out of this is that the possibilities are just open, and
So yeah,
Kevin
I just
Feige,
want
who is in charge, can just you know control the script at this point, make it whatever they want.
but here's the problem now. This is why I'm hesitant to be excited for the whole multiverse thing. Um, it's the same reason why I dislike time travel. It's they can easily use it as a cop out for things that happen in situations. A very easy route to eliminate consequences in any extravagant scale. Endgame, literally Thanos won, world is fucked, and they said these people couldn't move on because they used time travel to do whatever. And sure, it's the same timeline, whatever, it's fine. The same thing can happen with multiverses now.
Oh yeah.
Where do the consequences end? When do you get to a point where you say, oh no, for example, now Iron Man died, we're like, Iron Man's dead. We accept that. But if it was a multiverse, then it could have been, oh, this Iron Man from the future is able to travel between times, we have a new Iron Man. It has the ability to lessen consequences, and it can also become super messed up in terms of, I think you mentioned it before, having, for example, multiple Spider-Mans in a situation. You can't do anything significant with those Spider-Mans because if you do, it's like, oh, okay, they go back to that dimension, or it's the Spider-Man that we knew that died.
I mean,
It doesn't matter.
but here's the kicker though, right? Is that in this event, considering Sony is going to be working with Marvel, right? It's not just Disney that's going to be doing it, right? It's going to be Sony as well handling. I'm gonna bet Sony will be the one handling all the Spider-Man crap from then on out.
So yeah,
So-
Sony did say so. Sony's trying to build their own universe from what I've heard, in the sense of having their Venom and having their Mobius and having their and
Wait.
from what I heard, it's Spider-Man's gonna be.
Are they gonna get X-Men? Because if they're gonna get the X-Men, then please.
I think Disney is handling X-Men. Disney, they're going to be doing Fantastic Four first. Then, but the good thing about it is that they have the rights to Fox. So now, because here's how I see it, right? They might retcon some things, but I don't think Hugh Jackman is going to leave. If the paycheck is good, that guy's coming back as Wolverine, right?
If he comes back, I'm done. I'm done.
Really?
No, because listen, every single X-Men movie, maybe not the last one or the one after he died, but every single X-Men movie has Wolverine. And Wolverine's not that great of a character because literally there's a man who controls metal that can literally freaking kill him on the spot.
I get you, right? But I think he's more like he's the heart of what the X-Men is, right? In terms of just like, he's the person who's taking on all the pain, the person who is actually just the stoic silent type, but the emotional teddy bear as well, right?
But it's like, to what extent? We've been through pretty much everything we could want with a Hugh Jackman character. Unless he comes in for a cameo, that's fine.
Because
But-
from what I heard is Mark Ruffalo's trying to make a Hulk movie, right? So the way I see it, right, that's where they're gonna introduce Wolverine, right, in the Hulk movie, because that's where Wolverine started as, right, in a Hulk movie, in a Hulk comic book. So I'm seeing it in this case that if they're gonna use Wolverine to set up the X-Men, right? But all the members from the Fox stuff, they're not gonna come back, right? Like, forget it. Halle Berry's not gonna be there. None of those guys. No. But I'm betting Hugh Jackman is gonna stay, right? Because he's probably the most popular one out of that franchise as a whole, right? So at least that's how I say. I see multiple companies or multiple sub companies handling the different verses. Someone's going to be handling X-Men movies from their end or their media. Spider-Man is going to be handled by Sony. MCU is just going to be focused on whatever Kang and everything is going on. And then at the end, they're just going to bring everybody into this one huge big film. I bet it's going to be, it's probably going to be a three-parter, but it's going to be a huge film. But that's
And
how I'm
that will
seeing
be
the
the
route.
day, and that will be the day that they murder the genre. When they do
Probably.
that, the genre will fucking die. Which gets me to my next question. How long do you guys think this is gonna last?
As long as the paycheck is good.
That's what I'm
But
saying. When do you think?
but
When do
like
you
but
think that we could possibly be at a level where? Cause I don't think it'll be like we'll wake up one day and then we're sick of superhero movies. It'll be one movie that we'll all be really hyped up for. It'll disappoint, and then we'll just it'll be like waking up from the Matrix, and it will be like,
I
we
think
don't really like this shit, and then it'll start to go down, kind of like what happened with the cowboy genre, what happens with the kung fu genre, what happens. These genres
I get
have a
that.
time period.
But here's what I'll say to that. I personally think it's going to be a good while because one thing I've seen in these superhero movies is that they, they're very flexible, right? Unlike the cowboy movies, which have to be drama and gunslingers, they've limited themselves to certain actions, certain sequences. Superhero movies can be anything you want, really, depending on how you go about it, right? Like the perfect example is Logan, right? Logan movie. You wouldn't necessarily say that's a Wolverine movie. Well, you could obviously it's Wolverine, but it's more drama based, right? More emotionally tied, more cinematic in its own way, right? So my thing is like, if Marvel sees, oh, maybe the jokes aren't working too much, let's move to this kind of genre. Let's move to this. Let's shift it to this genre. And I think superhero movies are flexible to the point where they can still survive whatever is coming. Now the real question is, right? Will there be another genre that would compete with superhero movies, right? I have my opinions on that. I personally think action movies are slowly making a comeback, especially because right now, I don't know if you noticed, but there's been a shift in the movie operations in the sense that now stunt guys are the ones being directors, right? And they began to make all this heavily action-based movies, right? That require a lot of stunt doubles, that go into that basically do what the Jackie Chan movies used to do back in the day, right? And it's garnering a lot of attention. And I'm seeing that slowly being a movement in which guys who are usually controlling the stunt teams, are now graduating into director roles, right? And making action movies. And if the reception goes that way, then superhero movies are gonna have a lot to compete with because since the main thing with superhero movies is the action, then action movies are just slowly going to be the competing force on that front.
I feel you, but as you said, it's very I don't want to use the term incorrectly, amorphous. It is it's able to mutate and make its entrance in different ways. I feel you on that. Actually, that you might be right when I think about it. If it can just mold to fit whatever the new fad is at the time, they certainly have a lot of content. And that's what I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Is that unlike a book or a novel or anything like that, these niggas have content for fucking days to play with in every genre and every way that they want to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would have to say I kind of agree with you. They're probably gonna be there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess the logical question is, as you say, the genre that can compete. Slopes, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I don't know why Twilight came up again on the fucking Twitter feed. And I was thinking that little small Twilight phase. I don't know if you want to call it the Twilight phase or the book novel phase, because it was like there was a whole lot of novels coming out at around that time. I feel like that era was kind of like the okay, it was Twilight, and then it was what was the thing that came after Twilight that was also kind of teen based? Hunger Games.
Yeah, Hunger
Just a
Games.
whole bunch of book to novel, novel to movie type shit.
Yeah.
I think that's a genre that could possibly compete. I know Game of Thrones fucked it up for them. I think Game of Thrones was like the big novel leading thing, and then they kind of
Yeah,
crashed and burned.
hmm
But I think if there was a genre, that would be the genre. And I
But my
think that
thing,
even if they decided, okay, we're gonna use a Game of Thrones series to fucking plug a Game of Thrones movie, hey nigga, that niggas people aren't gonna be against that. You feel me?
yeah,
So
but
I feel
at least my
like that's
thing
a
with,
genre that I could do
mhm.
something. I see.
And I get you on that. I think because after the Harry Potter franchise, a lot of people were trying to do that. Just make the next movie about the next best teen author, right? But what you find, and this is very noticeable in Game of Thrones, is that it is very hard, right, to be flexible with that kind of material and still keep your fan base or your clientele base, because usually it's the book readers, right, the book fans, or and you can say it happens with comic books as well. But I've seen people, the way they react to Game of Thrones, right? Game of Thrones decided, oh, they're just going to deviate a little bit outside the norm, and all of a sudden 7 and 8 became the worst things ever inside the series, right? And the thing is, like, I feel those kind of things, especially when they're based on books and novels. It is very easy for it's very limiting when it comes to the amount of creative freedom they have in comparison to superhero movies now.
So they put super powered out. You think they can fuck that up?
Yeah. Didn't they have a superhero show that was based on a book? They put that out and
Wait,
it was bad as
superpower.
well.
We talk about superpower. Oh well, you talk about heroes, or you talk about something they tried to follow up with heroes.
Well, it's not, well, kind of both, but I guess the what I was mostly mentioning was just movies based on novels, basically, like Harry Potter,
Word.
Hunger Games, them. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, I'm just saying it's very
I
hard to be
think
flexible.
I think they could. I think they could. So what you think? What genre
Um,
can put up a fight?
that's the thing, though. It's not genre specific. You guys mentioned now that you call it superhero movies, but it ranges over a variety of genres. I mean, even now, they're saying that Doctor Strange in the multiverse or whatever, they want to make that a horror movie. Um, at the end of the day, any of these sub-genres or metas that are happening, I'll refer to them as metas, they all function under one rule. When it gets bad, it stops. And it's either restarted later on
hmm
or so you guys were talking about the young adult books that
Yeah.
had a fad back then. Um, Twilight worked because you had a bunch of girls happy for this movie, and no matter what people say, the Twilight movies were good. They weren't like Oscar worthy. They weren't like brilliant, but they were good. They were enjoyable. Um,
Mm.
then you had a saturation of that genre. You had Hunger Games, which was also good. People love that. Then you had The Host, and then
hmm
people were like, okay, I mean, we get it. Then they had this freaking Angel one, which is actually a popular book series, but the production of that was bad, which resulted
hmm
in that genre kind of falling off now. But that'll always be a thing that if it's good, then people enjoy it. Now they're moving from taking young adult books into series. So, for example, Percy Jackson, super popular book series. I read Percy Jackson like it was biblical. It was brilliant. I loved it. But then the movies came out and they weren't great, and people were like, it's trash. But they're making a Percy Jackson series now. People are excited. Rick Riordan, the writer's in there. He's excited about it coming out. They're making a Da Vinci Code series.
Oh fuck that! What the
So
fuck that?
what do you mean,
Jesus,
fuck that? I mean, that's
why?
what I'm saying. There's a subculture of people that are excited for Da Vinci Code. I'm excited for it because they are depicting Lost Symbol, which was a book that was not made into the movie, and I'm excited to see how they're going to depict that. So at the end of the day, the reason why superhero movies have been remember superhero movies have not just been like a Marvel, like only Marvel thing, or this MCU universe Marvel thing. Um,
Yeah.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, brilliant. Niggas crazy about it. Third one came out, people were like, hold on now, let's talk about that.
And I don't know why, because I really like that third one. I really fucked
Yeah.
with it.
It's just,
Batman trilogy.
mhm.
Batman trilogy was out. People were raving about superhero movies, and then what Marvel did was just make this a cohesive universe. You get what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
not this genre is going to take over this. In this case, you talk about action, but again, Marvel's premise is like a lot of action. Shang-Chi's going to come out, which I fully believe is going to have like a ridiculous amount of action, which could probably even compete with one I'm excited that's coming out now, which is the G.I. Joe movie. Because
Snake
when
Eyes.
Snake Eyes, exactly, yeah. So you hear about the people talking about we have real martial artists coming in, we have people talked about stuntmen actually directing shit, and you're like, yeah, this is what we want, and it all comes down to, is it made well in a way that people will enjoy?
Yeah, and this will go back to the action thing I was talking to you about, because it's Shang-Chi coming out at the same time as G.I. Joe, right? Because if you looked at the most opinion, people are saying G.I. Joe actually looks better than Shang-Chi, right? And they're both supposed to be, yeah, martial arts based stuff, right?
Yeah,
That's why I'm firmly in belief that in the foreseeable future, action movies are gonna make a comeback, right? And even look like one genre we didn't even speak about was video games, because like I just saw like the Mortal Kombat movie, right? And it wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be, especially coming out of playing like MK11, right? But the reaction to it, right? The amount of people who just loved that movie, right? For me, it was just kind of crazy though, and it was just like there was so much hype behind that one movie, which for me is kind of mediocre. So I'm
yeah,
saying like, what other franchises could they, if they so choose, make a good movie out of that could just garner a similar reception? Because like on HBO Max, that was like the highest grossing film, right? Like higher than Kong versus Godzilla. Like think about that. And Kong versus Godzilla was a very good movie. So I'm
I
thinking,
mean, yeah, it was a good movie, but at the end of the day, it's monsters fighting. There's only so much you can do with monsters fighting.
no, but when I say good, I'm meaning like in comparison, right?
Mm,
Like Mortal Kombat, it is very messy. It's a very
yes,
messy movie, right? Not a very consistent story. Just like if you watched that movie and you were like trying to get into the story, you'd probably like fall apart, right? But it's mostly for me that I see is like maybe the action, a little bit of the fan service, right? That's getting most people there. And if that amount of fan service can get a movie to be in the to gross the most on HBO Max, then I'm thinking like what other franchises could they like Warner Brothers just pump money in right now, make a good movie out of, and probably have like movies competing with Marvel at this point. Because I'm thinking video games is the way to go versus with them, because the
yeah. The
DCU
issue with video
is not
games,
giving them those numbers right now.
yeah, the issue with video game movies is that the ones that came out have not done as well.
Ain't done shit. Yeah, they ain't done shit.
What do you
But I
mean?
feel
Which
like
ones?
what no. You tell me which
Um,
video game movie came out that blew shit out the water. You tell me.
Oh,
the only
me.
one that did good
Oh,
was,
I thought you
not the
meant
only
the
one,
games.
but
That's
really,
why when he said, I thought he meant the games didn't do as well. I was like, oh,
no. So
No, the
like the
movie
one that
did.
did really
Yeah.
well, technically it's not a video game movie, but it was the Ready Player One, which had like aspects of which was basically focused around like video games, but notoriously video game movies don't do that well. For example,
what?
the reception about it, Assassin's Creed, people didn't enjoy
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
What's it? Tomb Raider, people were like, it's okay, but wasn't great.
Yeah, because the main thing with video games movie is that they try and play it safe, right? Because they're
Um,
already spending a huge amount of money, already taking the title, making the movie, franchising it in partnerships with other people. Those movie companies, they're gonna have to make their money back, right? So it's like, oh, let's play it safe so we can at least get something out of it, right? And that's how it's always kind of been with Tomb Raider, with Assassin's Creed, with all these, with even with Witcher series that came out, right? There's always been this element like, oh, we have to stick to the video game series, right, in order to make the money back. But it's like if somebody actually like took that risk and said, okay, let's try and be innovative with this movie, right? The same way Marvel's innovative with their stuff, right? Do that with video game movies, and I guarantee you'd probably have a lot more following.
A part of me kind of disagrees in some aspects because I think that's one of the main reasons why video game movies are not doing well is that you'd have producers and writers that are not. It doesn't feel when you watch the movies, it feels like the people that wrote it and directed it are not familiar with the actual material that they directed and writing. Um, that's why I think that a lot of people don't enjoy these movies coming out. For example,
Hold on. What, Sonic? How was Sonic, by the way? I didn't play that shit. I
Sonic
never
was
played.
decent.
Sonic did well.
Sonic was
Oh.
was decent. Yeah.
And one of the reasons, the big reasons why it did well was that they listened to the people. When they showed the
Word.
design of Sonic, people were like, hold on now, what the hell is that? One of the big reasons why people didn't like Assassin's Creed is because they changed the whole anime situation and tried to make it look good visually and deviated a lot from the story.
No, I think the main reason was that because the whole Assassin's Creed up to that point was more about the person in the past, right? Rather than the person in the present. What they did was like they were
Yeah.
focusing so hard on the guy in the present, while everybody was like, no, I want to see more assassin stuff, right? Not just the action scenes. I want to see the life of the assassin and everything. So I think that was the main complaint was that for an Assassin's Creed sort of thing, it was so less focused on the assassin element, right? And
Yeah, so
and I think
it just goes to
that's
show
the thing.
that, as you said, they can fuck up the bag really easily with video games if they deviate a bit too much. So that's why it's more of a minefield of a genre. But so y'all basically what y'all saying is basically ain't nobody gonna be fucking with the superhero genre for a long time, and
But
Marvel
if
is gonna stay at
Hold
the
on
top.
now. Don't
like
put
but like I said though, superhero movies are adaptable, bro. They're flexible. If video games are doing assassins, you best believe Marvel is gonna have their pseudo assassins as well. They can do that stuff if they want to,
I feel.
you know.
So the issue is here. What is it? The DCU. I know that they can always make a decent amount in this game since they are still in the genre. They're still in the ring. It's like Batista's in the ring and they're like that nigga Sting, or okay, maybe a more mid-level opponent. Maybe the Rey Mysterio. Maybe they get a couple moments, but you just know at some point they're gonna kick him out the ring. The big dog is the MCU, but the DCEU is putting out an effort. Suicide Squad. I don't know if y'all heard. Apparently, the fucking reviews. It's good. James Gunn did the thing. Do y'all have hope? Do y'all still believe in the gun?
For me, here's what I'll say about James Gunn.
Yeah.
He's because wasn't okay. Anyway, for James Gunn, yes, I think one thing that was happening a lot in Marvel is that like he made his Guardians of the Galaxy formula, but he wasn't allowed. But that was under a lot of restrictions, right? It wasn't allowed to curse, not allowed to do some certain violent scenes, right? I think the Suicide Squad, he's going to be able to like express himself a lot more vividly than he could with the Guardians one, right? And I think from that, if James Gunn does it well, then you might have a good blend. Well, I'll say a good blend, but mostly a good blend between a serious and comical movie in DC, which is something that they couldn't really get with the old with Zach's verse. Because Zach's one was kind of it tried to be funny, but it tried to be like too
Yeah,
character driven.
it was on the dark end. It was on the dark end of funny, bro.
Yeah. So like that's how I'm seeing the DCU going. They're gonna go a little bit more like in this thing. What's it called? Aquaman. They're gonna go to that kind of like that Aquaman kind of look with a bit more comedy to it, trying to compete with Marvel. But I don't think they're gonna announce anything universe-wise until they see that the money is coming in, right? Because yeah.
They broke up the whole universe thing.
No, they didn't.
They did.
No.
That's the reason why they're venturing off into. So they said they're moving away from a cohesive universe such as what the Justice
Yeah,
League
that's
was,
what.
having
Yeah,
one universe. That's why we're getting
yeah,
the new Batman movie.
I get you, but that's what they're saying, right? But right, we know that things like this can switch up at any point in time, right? Like for example, we had stuff like I think in the beginning, they were supposed to use Christopher Nolan's Batman, right? It's only Chris Bale that said no. That's why they chose Ben Affleck. So even at the time when they said, "Oh, Batman is not going to be in this cross universe stuff," right? They were still trying to do it, right? So what I'm saying is that once they see everything is working out, then they're gonna have to do a universe because a universe movie breaks in the numbers, right?
But if they do this whole multiverse thing, then they can just keep making movies regardless. So, for example, if they make everyone unites in this one universe and that movie doesn't work out,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like, okay, well, we have this other universe. They
Yeah,
already started this whole universe thing, multi universe. That's what they're going for.
yeah, and I think the Flashpoint paradox is just gonna do that. Like personally, paradox is what Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is to Marvel, you know, to DC, because like now there's going to be a soft reboot of everything that's going to happen, but they're going to still keep some elements up from the Snyderverse, right? The ones that are making money, right? Like Aquaman, maybe Gal Gadot, right? But they're going to
Yeah,
switch it up.
yeah. To be honest, the DCU movie planning schedule doesn't make sense to me at all. And it shows that, unless I'm mistaken, it shows that these
There's
decisions
no
are being made
planning.
from an executive level. No, the executive level,
I mean,
because this what's
because
happening is that someone sees Aquaman did well. They're like, well, let's make Aquaman 2 instead of movies that the people that actually care about DC would want to see.
I think things are shifting, right? Because now I'm sure you know, Warner Brothers, they were purchased. Yeah, Warner Brothers, they were kind of purchased by Discovery, right? And it just happens so happenstance. So now there's a switch in the higher up positions. Roles are being switched around now, and now it's up to other people to say what's gonna happen with other franchises. Because now we're not gonna be getting a Superman for a while. That new Superman series proves it, right? Same thing with Batman and all those franchises. They're all gonna be taking a backseat, and I think for the most part now it's just going to be testing the waters for them. I think that's what the Suicide Squad is doing because now with James Gunn coming in, they're gonna test how if they can go comical more funny, if funny is gonna work, right? If serious is gonna work, because right now think about it this way: they have Joker. Joker is a very good movie, right? Very cinematic, you know, and very character driven, serious in its own right. But now we have Suicide Squad, which is a funny story as well. Now they're gonna be like they're trying to test the waters with these different movies and see which route they're gonna take and how much money is gonna make for them. So I think yeah, right now it's just a gradual phase for them. I don't think personally I don't think I'll be hearing anything important from DCEU for like at least until Phase 4 ends for Marvel.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for
Damn. Like
that
you think they're gonna keep
flashpoint.
they gonna keep the guns tucked? Yeah, that's what I said. Flashpoint is it. But you think besides that they just gonna keep the guns tucked and just watch? Damn, they're gonna be on the
Hmm.
sidelines watching. They're gonna do shit. They're
Yeah,
gonna be
because they can't
monologuing
compete
to
now.
themselves while the nigga fights.
Yeah, because they can't compete now,
His
right?
power.
Now,
He's so
the
great.
I think they
triple.
can because
They,
Marvel's. Here's the situation with Marvel now. Um, they've passed the. Let me call it. I'm gonna call it the pinnacle for now, which was the Thanos Endgame situation, getting everybody together to fight the big bad that's been built up for however many years, 16 years.
Hmm.
That was the pinnacle of the universe, right? The situation they're in now is let's start building towards what's coming out, which is why we're having these series, which is why we're getting the build up for Wanda's reached her powers. Falcon is the new Captain America. Loki, they're setting that up now. So this is kind of the I would call it the really good time for DC to be competing. And from what I'm seeing, it's either going to be, as you said, that character story driven thing that Joker did, because they have the Black Adam movie coming out. And from what I've heard, they're trying to make it like a whole civilization building up to Black Adam. That whole story that Black Adam has. And then in conjunction to that, you have your solo Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, building that up a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is a very good time for them to be competing, but it only works if the movies that come out do well.
They hit it out the park.
Yeah, but the reason I say they couldn't compete, right, is that Marvel now at this point is basically has the superhero game on lock, right? It is going to be really hard for them without a universe, right, to basically garner the same amount of audience, garner the same amount of acquisitions of merchandises from the fans, right, when they don't have a solid universe. Because it's not like in the past where you could just watch a movie and buy like your RoboCop doll based on just one movie anymore. No, now it's different. Now it's a group effort. Now there's a brand name that needs to be on top of everything before people go ahead and buy it, right? And that's the thing. Marvel has their brand name on lock for their different superheroes, right? Someone could watch a movie about Black Panther and say, "Oh, let me buy Iron Man because he's in the same universe," right? That's not something that can happen when Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and everyone else is just not being marketed to be in the same thing or on the same level, right? So
But so basically what you're saying is Marvel can put out any piece of dog shit as long as it's associated with somebody that you know that's associated in Marvel with a character that you like. You're gonna fucking watch it. Yes, I understand that. We all know
but
that.
that's the thing.
Marvel has niggas by the thumb.
But the most important thing I was trying to say is just that it was a brand name that they have, right? The one thing that the Zack Snyderverse, even whether people like it or not, had was that it had a brand name on it, right? There are people who could watch, who knew about the DCEU and knew, oh, here's Batman, Cyborg, Flash, and them all, right? And they could basically purchase whatever they have to do based on the verse alone, right? And I think that's one thing they've given up in favor for more solo movies since it's more cost effective, right? But at the same time, because it's more cost effective, they're gonna throw away a lot of fans, right? Or a lot of future purchasers who are trying to come into these new projects, right? So that's really what I don't know why you're putting that in the background. I was like, bro, I don't know what you're doing right now.
It's not hentai, dog. Chill. Go ahead, dog. Finish your point.
Are those the sisters?
Focus.
Are those the sisters? The Nubian queens you were talking about?
Finish your point.
Yeah.
Finish your point.
I mean, to be frank, I was overall done. Yeah, that's overall what I'm trying to say. DC, you're gonna need some years to build back up. That's all.
Yeah, no. It's gonna be tough, but yeah, as I said, I think I felt with Slopes when he said that they can do it, but they have to hit out the park. They can do it, but they have to hit it out the motherfucking park. I have one question though, very pertinent question. This is probably something that I could Google, but I just haven't Googled, and I don't want to Google it. Black Widow. We're gonna skip back there just for 1 second. More so because I need an answer to this question. They're trying to say basically that Black Widows can't have sex, can't make babies.
Yep.
Because they took out all the organs, but you can still have sex with them. They can still experience sexual pleasure, or it's done.
No, they removed they removed the uterus. They removed everything. There's nothing in there, basically.
Why is this
Anal.
something you care about? Why is this? Why is this
Anal,
something you
anal.
care about?
You almost had me there for a second. You almost had me there. And then anal. They can't kill the nerves in that ass. No, sir. Anal is still an option. Thank you. That's
What
the
is
only
the?
question. That was it.
Yeah, but the one thing I wish I had after watching Black Widow movie. I wish I had that thing of
What?
the master boss, the guy who just released pheromones and just stop women from
That's fucked
attacking her.
up. That was
I know, right?
fucked
Like
up.
I was like, oh, you can't attack me
That's
because
a
of my
And
pheromones.
no.
people and
That's a that's a dumb line of defense. Let me say this. This villain.
it's dumb if you know it. Come on now.
No,
Yeah,
but like no.
Even
Listen, these trumpets are assassins. So all one assassin needs to do is I'm gonna snipe this dude from across that building.
from afar,
Done.
yes, of course,
You
of
need to be
course.
within range
Okay.
to be stopped by pheromones. I thought it was gonna be
Yeah.
some like tactical like training that they did psychologically. That would make a lot more sense. But pheromones? If you're not close to him, then they don't
No,
work. That's it.
nigga. The psychological thing is what they did on Black Widow. That new shit is what they did on what's her name, the younger generation, and you could see that it's not as effective because this bitch still had the memory of her life, and she's just got her personality back like that. Natasha's fucked. Natasha's mind is fucked. You can tell she's not adjusted, very well adjusted to society, like kind of. She's an outsider
I just mean
essentially.
that that
But
pheromone thing was cool in that situation because they were in close quarters. And then of course you can argue, well, he will never be in a situation where he can be sniped from a building because he's in that citadel in the sky, sure. But I'm just saying that if you're dealing with assassins, not everyone's gonna be face to face.
Give him some credit. He wasn't a satellite in the sky. I don't think he was going to be sniped. The chances of him being sniped were kind of non-existent at that
you guys,
position.
here's the thing. You guys are too used to your fucking cinematic things. This villain, what he was I don't see any difference between him and the James Bond villains. Just
True.
stupid little things that just move plot points forward, and that's what he did. And then he was gone. Fucking, that was
Yeah.
it. No, he was just a tool. He was just a device, and I don't mind because of what I got behind it. It was some really good character development for what's her name before they killed her off. It's just, I mean, it's
Oh,
just nice.
Scarlet Witch. Sorry,
Just
Black Widow.
no, Scarlet, yeah, Black Widow. It's just nice little character thing. I can't have babies. I can't do shit. Why am I gonna take this father away from his kids? Type shit. Like you could understand, and
Really?
like everything kind of made sense. No, because they did a lot of building into like Clint and Widow and how close they were. Like you knew they
Did
were
they?
close, but now you get the feeling like
Did they build it though?
yes, they did, man.
I don't
They
recall them
did.
building
Come
it.
on,
They just said
they've been building it. They've been building
we
it since
only
the
saw we
first
only the only
Avengers. Come
time
on
we've
now.
seen no, because think about it, the only time we've ever had any exposition, like the first time I've seen any exposition on Black Widow was in Ultron, was in Avengers 2, right? That's basically the gist of what we got from her backstory and her relationship with Clint. That's why we got that scenario. Ever since
No,
then,
but
until Endgame, we haven't heard anything concerning them, right? So my thing is like, I was hoping this movie was gonna come out with something like, okay, what is her relationship with Clint, right? Or what's her relationship with this family, and how did that make her to what she was today, right? Because I was expecting more of an origin because we really don't know anything about Black Widow, and we've kind of
but
been hyped for her for a good while, you
But they
know.
did enough in the sense of that Clint was the one that helped her escape from this
They
organization.
just but my thing is they just said it right.
You
They
don't
didn't
need more than
explore
that,
it.
though,
Yeah,
do
we
you?
kind of do because it's like she was an assassin, right? Basically, this Russian special grade assassin, kills everyone, right? Kills subjects, no questions asked, and then she broke out of her mind control somehow, right? And decided to fight for good somehow. And my thing is like the transition from what she claimed she was to where she is now. That movie didn't do it for me. It didn't make me believe in the Black Widow
Uh,
character. You
But
know.
I get what you're saying,
okay,
but
okay.
what I feel like for that movie, it was this. It was number one. I don't think they needed to go into that much exposition because there's two things that we learned that we needed to know. Number one was that she traded her freedom uh, so that she would work for Shield. Number one, and number two, the reason why her and Clint are that close is because Clint was the one that was there when she was escaping this organization and destroying this organization.
Yeah, but to think about it, that was just one scene, though. Like, imagine having, because for me, according to you, that's the most important. Well, that's one of the most important things, right? In that movie, you could take out of. But that was just in one exposition, right? That had nothing to do with the mission or the progress in character development. It had nothing to do with it. It was just one scene, and that was it, right? And my thing is like, for a movie about Black Widow to just have your entire backstory be told in one exposition scene is like, it doesn't translate for me.
I think, but that's the point, right? The point of this movie wasn't to establish the full backstory for just Black Widow, but for the new Black Widow, which they did was showing that whole scene with their children and growing up. A big part of it was introducing that new Black Widow, not necessarily establishing the reason for the old one, because the old one in this universe is dead.
I get you there, but it's her movie, right? It's not the new one's movie.
No, listen. I've told you guys, these niggas they're not playing games, man. They're not playing games. They build and then they destroy in the same movie, bro. Listen, these niggas are not playing. They're not playing with anybody. They use that fucking.
Yeah, but my thing,
to set up
I'm saying
Hawkeye.
they didn't build at all in this one. So
what's here's the thing.
I didn't get anything out of this movie. That's what I'm saying.
But you got the new Black Widow. That's what you got. Okay. Maybe you're one of those people that. Here's the thing.
She's not even Black Widow in this movie anyway.
She's gonna. But the way they establish her is that she's gonna be number one. We know why she's gonna be the villain for whatever capacity in the Hawkeye movie. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, I don't know if this is what they're gonna be doing, but throughout all these series, they've been introducing younger versions of the characters that have been established. So maybe this is a long-term plan for young Avengers or young groups or whatever's created in the near future. But that's what they've basically been establishing throughout this whole series experience.
No, I believe that. I believe it's a setup, but I was just hoping they would actually just make a movie, and I'd be like, oh, setup.
But the big concern of this movie was this. It was why, if she's already dead. That was the big concern of this movie. Why would you release a Black Widow movie when the show's already dead? Why do we care for this movie? But my takeaway of this movie was
because they made it before the pandemic, so it's like it was supposed to be a bit sooner. So I'm not gonna be like putting that on them.
They can't waste Endgame.
So I think we need to see what happens in the Hawkeye movie with her and what's her face, Haley Steinfeld as the new Hawkeye, because that's what I think assumes going to happen. Mm-hmm. Then we'll have a situation where those are going to be the new Hawkeye and Black Widow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with the new series. I think it has some potential. I really like played Hawkeye. I think he's one of the most underused characters, considering he's probably the human element in the whole Avengers. Yeah, hopefully we get to see more about that.
They're finna get into it. They're finna get into it. Katie is set up there, like I said, Young Avengers. They got the docket. Speaking of dockets, last topic on the docket. This question has been asked before. As for Slopes and I, we have already made our options very clear. We just wanted to get your take on this. You got one shot, you got one chance at getting 2 powers. One superpower.
One superpower.
But here's the catch. You get to choose how you get the superpower.
I get to choose how I get it. Okay.
Why does that matter?
It changes, the way the power is gonna work. It just changes the power for you. But okay, yeah, I guess you're right. That was stupid. You can get any power. It's fine.
Okay. My power is to get all the powers, right? So I'm messing with you.
Okay,
Okay.
hold on. Hold on now. The power to get all powers, right?
Well, we kind of have that already. So anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
that's
thing.
how we're able to make the
I
choice.
know, right?
Because what we're gonna do is we give you handicaps based on what type of ability it is. Like it has to make sense within the realm of reason.
Okay, I mean, okay, my power.
I think use one power at a time has always kind of been the thing. Word.
Okay, so I would like personally the power to, the power to transmutate matter. I think that would be cool. Yeah.
Transmutate matter.
Yeah.
To what
Basically,
extent? Changing the properties.
Full Metal Alchemist, right? So it's like, oh, you can, for example, I have the power to make, make a wood sculpture out of a table, right? I guess the only limitation I'll put on myself would be like I can only make that stuff out of the material I've selected, right?
Okay. So
And
like
not change
full
like wood to metal,
So full metal in this situation.
Yeah, but basically I can do. There's no limit to what I can make, right? Like
But the matter has to exist.
But the matter has to exist. Exactly.
Okay.
Let's put another caveat in there. Say your hands sweat a lot when you do it too many times. You ain't got no limitations.
You giving Boku no Hero.
Come on now.
Boku no Hero restrictions.
Yes.
Oh, you want to give? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Give restrictions. Okay.
Yes.
You get a headache when you. Boku no Hero is just.
Yeah.
or is that? Or have you seen this show? Is it Black Reaper or something? It's like this anime, but basically they all have superpowers, but they have to complete a contract when they use it.
Oh.
So like a girl, she has the ability to like look at you and paralyze you, right? But her contract demands that she removes one part of her clothing every time she uses her power, right? So it's kind of like that. There's a sacrifice every time you use the power that you have to complete.
Yeah, word. What the fuck is going on with anime right now, man? I seriously ain't watching shit.
Oh, really? You never have you?
I know they say.
Have you seen Tokyo Revenge?
Boruto is popping. Oh fuck! Is this the new one?
No.
I'm pretty sure I probably like it if I got into it. But is it? Are y'all? This is the next one. Y'all gonna build this one up?
No. This one.
Demon Slayer.
No. It's more. I'll say this is more. It's more slice of life-ish, right? But it's like it's a mystery element to it, and it's a bit slice of life-ish, but there's also a lot of action to it. So it's basically guy in the future he's basically fucked his life up. A train hits him, he ends up in the past, and now he decides that okay, I have to change things, right? Meanwhile, in the future, someone's trying to kill him and his girlfriend, right? So he has to go to the future and past to determine who's trying to kill him and how to change the future and save everybody, right? Thing is, he doesn't know how to fight, right? He's essentially what you call a crybaby, but he's kind of one of those guys you can say he has heart, right? Like you can look at him and root for him because you know where he's coming from, right? It's kind of like one of those things. You'd have to watch to understand. It's kind of like when I told you about Yu Yu Hakusho.
He's an underdog.
Yep, underdog. It's kind of like an underdog too.
But you keep rooting for him. Okay, yeah. You put Yu Hakusho in there. Urameshi was a cool motherfucker, dog. He was an underdog at times, but he was cool as fuck from episode 1. So that's a big shoe to fall. But okay, I see what you're saying. Basically, it has potential,
Mm-hmm.
but
Anime
yeah.
for me, um, I feel saturated with anime in the sense that a few years ago, anime used to be like like religion in the sense that every week you would have your schedule of anime you're watching. You'll be keeping up with that every season. Get super excited, which was great at that time. It was fan fucking tastic. Then there was this situation where a lot of things went on hiatus. On a lot of things just went on. Finished season one or finished season two, um, and then we got bombarded with a bunch of 12 episode anime, isekai anime, um, just a whole bunch of things. In conjunction with that, the popularity of anime as well just boomed more than it was back then. And then I just realized last year, I think, a bunch of animes that I used to watch, like Religion, came out with a season two, season fours. Your Attack on Titans, your Boku no Hero, your even
And you ain't watch
what was
none of
this
that
one I used
shit.
to watch? No, I did not watch any of that because firstly, number one, read manga. But let me just preface that reading manga has never been a problem. I would always read manga and then watch anime. I'll be content. I'll be happy. But because of that long break, I didn't care to go all the way back to that situation. And then number two, I started reading a lot of mangas, which are like Korean webtoons, Korean comics.
Mm.
And I'm in a situation now where that's my thing now, reading mangas. Every day I know that my shit's coming out. Like even now I check like, oh okay, let me make sure that this hasn't come out, this hasn't come out, so I'm cool with that. But I've really fallen off with anime, and for me, I just feel saturated with it. People are like grouping over like, oh no, Boruto's going crazy. But the way that I
This
like,
shit
yeah,
going
this
on,
was
man.
last year for me, where I was like, oh, it's gonna be great, and I'm good. I'm just saturated with anime, to be honest.
I get you. I mean, most of the market is practically just doing the whole, oh, main character has the foxtail, whatever demon he has inside him, and I'm like, it's played out. It's one of the reasons I don't watch Black Clover, because it practically feels like that when I look at it. But I think now, because there are few enemies out there that you can like, Megalado boxing anime, Kigen Ashura fighting which is like a martial arts MMA based kind of
Yeah,
anime.
that was
Right.
fun.
And there is Tokyo Revengers and Record of Ragnarok. Because Blake shonen genre, I'm going into other stuff, right? There's the Madhouse. They're the ones who are actually like commanding the game when it comes to animation, when it comes to story at this point. And
Yeah, so
yeah, those are the guys
that
I'm going
whole
to.
yeah, so one that came out recently that actually was probably because I also knew what the manga was gonna happen in the manga. I recommended this to Sam as well. The jobless reincarnate or reincarnation of
Oh yes, yes. They dropped
Slime.
this, man. What the fuck?
For reincarnation of slime.
no, it's called, let me get the English one was, it's called jobless reincarnate. Okay, well they don't have it here, but basically it's essentially the father of isekai, if I can call it that. But it's just in terms of storytelling, in terms of so it is the formula with these animes nowadays is that you would usually have some regular ass dude who's just a high school student, and something happens, whether it be some demon foxes awaken in them, or they just stronger. You had your Jujutsu Kaisen that followed the similar pattern. But this one takes time to tell the story without having an obvious objective. It feels like you're actually living this dude's life. And there's reasons to why certain things happen. It's called Jobless Reincarnate. Check it out. Let me know what you think next time we're
Okay.
on the pod.
Alright, I'll check it out. Seems decent.
What's the Japanese one?
Um,
Mashoku Tensai. That's why I can't pronounce it. But yeah, it's the one that came out that I was like, this is dope. Jujutsu Kaisen also that came out
yeah,
last year.
Jujutsu
Oh, so
Kaisen
far.
obviously was it had good animation. Story was a bit choppy at certain points, but it's still good. It has potential.
It has potential. Yeah, apparently it goes crazy in the
Niggas,
manga. But
niggas is all waiting. We all waiting. I think Chainsaw Man is probably the only one I might hit a young skirt for. Just a young one. The manga was really
animation looked
enjoyable.
crazy in the trailer. I won't lie.
Mm-hmm.
The animation looked insane, and I know how it ends, so I'm like excited to see if they're gonna change anything. They might not, but I just feel like they could change it. Probably add more filler niggas. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. But yeah, yo guys, that was a hell of a week.